students of Reddit, what was the reason for why one of your teachers had a breakdown during class? The teacher was bullied and disrespected every day. One day an idiot threw a geometry compass, and it got stuck on a corkboard, like when you do knife throwing, right beside her, while she was writing on the board. Instant meltdown. In tears, she left the class and I never saw her again. Can't blame her, she probably thought her life was in danger at this point. Some schools/neighborhoods are very hard. Before you said her, this sounded just like something that's happened when I taught high school. A friend tried to break up a fight and the kids threw a chair at her. It was not good. This happened to me, only I was the one throwing the chair. 5th grade me was a little Some kids were bullying me, so I lost it and tried grabbing a chair to hit the kid, but the teacher stopped me. Afterwards, everyone thought I tried to attack the teacher with a chair, which didn't help with the bullying. You don't by chance work at a school in Rochester, do you? Lol, Rochester, New York. No, Virginia, lol. Sadly, this sounds like my former high school and I don't think I live in a rough neighborhood. I've had a couple teachers that were not my favorite, but I would never imagine hurling something at them. The worst thing I did to a teacher was put a sticky note under her mouse. I've had teachers that I've actually had good reasons to hate, but didn't really hate them, and even those teachers, I could never imagine being able to say that to them. Yes, I used to jokingly say I hate you and stuff to some of my favorite teachers, but they knew that I never meant it and actually thought they were really cool. My classmates and I would do this because we have a very weird way of showing that certain teachers were our favorite teachers. If we hated them as a teacher, we would only be nice to them. If they were our favorites, we'd pull pranks on them and stuff. Lol. I have a story for this one. A few years ago, I took a class in design theory. It was the pet project of the head of the college, and taught the design principles behind everything from common household objects to room layouts to entire organizations. It was an absolutely brutal class, but uniquely informative. One day, towards the end of the semester, we went over the use of humor in design. The professor spent the entire class talking about how laughter and amusement can be used to engage an audience and change how people see a situation. The whole time, he was laughing, cracking jokes, and good ones, too, and generally making sure the class had a good time. And at the end of the lesson, he told us not to underestimate the power of laughter. After all, it was how he had gotten through the lecture that day. His father had died a couple days prior. He broke down crying after he told us. It's probably the most impactful lecture I've ever attended. That's a strong man. Despite what he's going through, made sure you guys got your lesson. Sounds like Robin Williams. Plot twist, the professor is named Robin Williams. Dang, now I'm sad about Robin Williams again. Grade 10 science class, we were taking turns using some kind of lung capacity measuring device. Breathe into a tube and a small plastic bowl gets raised by the force of your breathing. Something gets measured somehow. I can't really remember details aside from the plastic bowl. Anyway, the teacher takes his turn, apparently trying to show off with how hard he can breathe out, somehow breaks the measuring device. The teacher goes into a rage after realizing he broke it, briefly tries to fix it, gives up, picks up a metal garbage can and throws it in anger, storms out of the room, and doesn't come back for 10 to 15 minutes, at which point he returns and acts like nothing happened. It was more bizarre and amusing than anything else. Spirometer. You breathe out and it roughly measures how much air is flowing past. Used to measure lung function in things like asthma, injury, or prevent pneumonia post-surgery. Source: I worked in a company that made precise electronic spirometers for clinical trials on asthma drugs. That definitely sounds like the device that I remember. Thanks. Did you ever see somebody break one from breathing too aggressively? Just wondering if this is fairly normal or if it requires a crazy amount of force to break one. Lots of the ball-based ones are cheap and mass-produced. It probably wasn't airtight or just broke from being abused. I've seen some of the hospital ones tolerate 12+L/S sustained, which is Tour de France level bike racer. You can also use them for training in band class. I thought it was called a peak flow meter. I actually own a couple. The teacher learned that one student cheated on a history essay. After getting this kid suspended for 2 days, repeat offender, She discovered that almost 2/3 of her class in that subject was cheating as well. I don't know what happened after that, but she literally broke down when she found out that my class knew about it. We were in a different subject, so we weren't a part of this scandal. Oh man, I had a class in college for hand drafting construction documents. Basic stuff. I guess it was like the 8th or 9th year the teacher had taught this class and hadn't really changed the curriculum. So at one point a project got assigned. I ended up being very sick at the time and had some extra time to work on it. Nothing hard, just tedious. The first day I came back, the teacher came in and just f***ing unloaded on the class. Apparently a student from a previous semester had given someone their project to copy and that had gotten passed around. And that project had some noticeable error on it, so when everyone turned in their projects, the teacher quickly noticed that there were tons of copies. The school had a zero tolerance policy on cheating, but I think at the time the department couldn't just drop something like 15 students, so they were all placed on academic probation for a year. I had a similar incident in high school when she found out nearly everyone had shared the answers to the midterm on Snapchat. She literally had a class the next day telling us why what we did was wrong and decided to give us another shorter midterm that we only had a period to do. This is literally happening at my college right now. They couldn't gut the entire junior and senior class, so they are basically sweeping it under the rug. Double secret probation? Nah, just a stern warning from administration that if they got caught doing anything else, their grades dropped to low, etc., they'd be kicked out. This teacher always seemed tough as nails, so it was a shock when a kid just said she looked like a pit bull. She did have jowls, and she left crying. One of my teachers looked like Pitbull the rapper, but was cool about it. Nice. My girlfriend works with a guy who looks like Pitbull and regulars that come in call him Mr. Worldwide. Mr. Worldwide. Teaches geography. Yeah, can't catch me boy. Dale. Lol. Gender matters here. It was a dude. I would be disturbed if my female teacher had chin hair. Given how many women naturally have some facial hair or bushy eyebrows, it annoys me that this would be disturbing to anyone. We don't think it's a thing because they all deal with it outside public, so they don't get rude comments. Exactly. One of my classmates' grandmother basically looked like Albert Einstein. It wasn't until I was older did I realize women really do a tough time dealing with facial hair and occasionally just go F it and let it grow. She was a substitute teacher at elementary school, and at some point a kid took it too far and threw a bottle at her. It was an empty plastic bottle, but still. Poor teacher. Sometimes it's not the physical things that hurt you, and sometimes it's a plastic bottle to the face. She was teaching about the harmful effects of plastic on the environment. In high school, one of the jocks got pissed at someone and threw a half-empty bottle of brisk at this kid. It completely missed, and instead the bottle blew right past me and into the lockers. The bottle exploded and entered the locker quite severely. It wasn't for a few seconds that we realized that the bottle had grazed a girl's forehead and left a gash that began to bleed profusely. This same jock was the one I got suspended a few weeks later. He was talking while we were trying to read the things they carried. The teacher, Mr. W, stopped and stared, hoping that the silence would make the jock realize he wasn't fooling anyone. After about 30 seconds, I caught Mr. W's eye and I wiggled my pencil. He gave me a smirk and a microscopic nod. So me, a little nerdy kid who got permission to piss off a jock with a teacher's unspoken permission? Hell yeah. I f***ing chucked that pencil as hard as I could, and it whacked the loudmouth in the back of the head. Now note that it was the dead of winter and ****s was sitting next to the window and right underneath it was a radiator that was running full blast, hot enough to melt plastic. He spun around, tried to holler who threw that, but could only screech when his elbow smashed into the radiator. He was already on thin ice for getting suspended for the last story, so he was suspended again for that. Reading back, this story probably makes it sound like I peaked in high school. Too much work to delete now though. I'm glad you didn't delete it. I'm enjoying the justice boner. I enjoyed the tale. Thank you very much. LMAO. I could honestly see one of my former teachers allowing me to do that to one of my classmates. Some bullied/picked on me. Teacher hit and killed a student walking on their way to school. A frequent sub of ours did this. lost her license because of it. From then on she was dropped off at work, school, by her mother. When the kids found out about this, middle and high school, she caught hell for it. She would cry almost daily, given that the right kids were in the class. That's awful. This is so sad. Please tell me other people were nice to her.